Next on C-SPAN 2, Sheryl Leach, creator of Barney the Dinosaur, addresses the National Press Club. Ms. Leach, in addition to being the creator of Barney the character, is also one of the...
Good afternoon, and welcome to the National Press Club and our annual Children's Lunch. As you can see, things look a little different, and they certainly sound a little different today, but I think we'll get through this okay. My name's Clayton Boyce, and I'm president of the National Press Club and news editor at Knight Ridder Tribune News Service. I'd like to welcome club members and their guests in the audience today, as well as those of you who are watching on C-SPAN or listening to this program on National Public Radio or the Global Internet Computer Network. Before introducing our head table, I'd like to remind our members of upcoming speakers. On Monday, November 22nd, Catherine McKinnon, professor at University of Michigan Law School, will present a speech entitled From Violence to Silence, Violence Against Women in America. On Friday, December 3rd, Phil Satry, president of Harris Casinos, will discuss the future of casino gambling in the United States. And on Monday, December 6th, Zlatko Dizdarevic, a Sarajevo daily newspaper editor, will talk about the civil war in the former Yugoslavia. I'm sure you'll all be here for that. Other upcoming luncheon speakers include U.S. Surgeon General Joycelyn Elders, FBI Director Louis Freeh, TV producer Norman Lear, and talk show host Larry King. For the convenience of our audience, transcripts and audio and video tapes of this luncheon are available. The transcripts will be available for fax transmission within 2 hours. The transcripts or tapes may be ordered by calling 800-500-9911. If you have questions for our speaker, please write them on the cards provided at your table and pass them up. I'll ask as many as time permits. I'd now like to introduce our head table guests and ask them to stand briefly when their names are called. Okay, kids, these are special friends of Barney, so please listen up. From your right, Laura Outerbridge of the Washington Times. Peter West of Education Week. Emily Feistritzer, a freelance journalist. John Monk of the Charlotte Observer. Tom Girardi, counsel for the Lions Group. Jerome Singer, Yale University Family Media Research Center. The empty chair is for my son Charlie, who's now sitting over with his mother. Apparently he doesn't like the limelight. Reginald Stewart, assistant news editor, Knight Ridder Newspapers, and chairman of the National Press Club Speakers Committee. Julia Spicer, director of public affairs of the GTE Washington office and member of the National Press Club Speakers Committee, who arranged today's luncheon. Ken Esky of Scripps Howard News Service, probably the most excited guy about Barney I know. Stephen Good of Insight Magazine. Beth Marchak of the Cleveland Plain Dealer. David Marchak Hart, son of Beth Marchak. Bill McElway of the Richmond Times-Dispatch. I'd also like to thank staff members Melissa Bender, Pat Thornsberry, Melanie Abdo-Dermott, and Jeff Tarbell for organizing today's luncheon, which, believe me, took a little extra work. You've all seen it in the mall on PBS. It could be that your own child has his or her own Barney. I'm talking about that purple, lovable Tyrannosaurus Rex. Today we're pleased to have with us Sheryl Leach, his creator. Ms. Leach, searching for good video entertainment for her young son, literally created her own. Now Barney has ballooned into a phenomenally successful business. There are Barney tapes, attire, accessories, and clothing. Barney has plans for party goods, more toys, books, videos, audio recordings, network TV specials, concerts, and even a movie. With this success, a Barney backlash was perhaps inevitable. You've all heard the stories about Barney bashing by adults and teens, but you won't hear it from this dad. It's great to hear my son Charlie singing, clean up, everybody do your share." Even when he doesn't do it, at least he's talking about it. And to those baby boomers who complain about commercialization, just think back to when you were asking your parents for a Davy Crockett coonskin cap. To see the value of Barney, you need only look at the alternatives on children's television. With a few exceptions, most notably Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers, and Shining Time Station, children's television today is, to paraphrase Newton Minow, a vast, wasted playland, populated by warriors, evil magicians, monsters, and criminals. Gracie, listen to your mother. Sit down. Yes, there are heroes, but most are heroes because they have big weapons or they're skilled at hand-to-hand combat. To provide an alternative, Sheryl Leach teamed with Kathy Parker, also a teacher and mother of a toddler, and video producer Dennis DeShazer. They developed the Barney home video series, Barney and the Backyard Gang. 30 Barney and Friends episodes have aired nationally on PBS since 1992, and 18 new shows were introduced this fall on PBS. The home video series received many awards, including the California Children's Video Award, the Parents' Choice Award, and the Film Advisory Board Award of Excellence. Sheryl Leach holds a bachelor's degree in elementary education with a specialty in Spanish from Southern Methodist University and a master's in bilingual education from East Texas State University. Her professional history includes roles as a resource teacher, an instructional leader, a bilingual education instructor, a writer, a director of public relations, and an educational computer software marketing director. She's a member of the Toy Manufacturers of America, the International Licensing Industry Merchandisers Association, Women in Communications, and Women in Film. Now, all you kids, listen up now. Here it is. Now, to share with us the secret of Barney, please welcome Barney's very best friend, Sheryl Leach.
Thank you very much. Well, I feel really at home here today because there's so many kids in attendance. So Barney is happy. I'm happy about that too. And in fact, I brought some of my friends. I don't know if everybody recognizes the new one, BJ. And of course, there's Baby Bop. And then the main person himself, Barney. So they had to be here with me today. Sometimes I'm introduced as an entertainment executive and sometimes the creator of Barney. But I really feel most that I'm Barney's mom. And I think that that title fits me and says something about me and also says something about the Lions group at home. Today I would like to talk to you a little bit about the beginning days of Barney and then how successful Barney has become and then what that success is going to mean to children's television and children's programming in the future. So first, a little bit about the beginning days. Can you imagine what the odds were that not from New York and not from LA, but from a little town called Allen, Texas, a group of people came up with an idea and developed a series that now is the #1 most watched children's television program on PBS. I had the idea for the Barney series back in 1987 as I was stuck in traffic on Central Expressway in Dallas, Texas. And the idea was really born from the fact that I had a very, very active 2-year-old at home, much like some of the children here today. And I was always looking for something that would keep him busy and occupied and happy, but something that would give me just a little bit of time for myself. So our family business had just built a video studio, and I came up with this idea to do a video series, and it was the perfect idea at the perfect time for our company's needs. So I began developing the video project, and along the way I invited Dennis DeShazer and Kathy Parker to join me. And we developed what is today known as Barney and the Backyard Gang. It's a home video series that even before the PBS days now of Barney and Friends, we developed 8 home videos. The home videos were platinum in sales, and we were, through a very grassroots marketing program, successful in our own right. In the early days, we didn't have enough money to make the videos and spend money on marketing. So what we did instead of advertising and some of the costly things, we decided to hire a group of our neighborhood mom friends, and we put together a team of telemarketers, and we called those moms the Mom Blitzers. That's what they've become known as today. And it was things like this. It was Operation Preschool, where we sent our tapes free to preschools around the country. It was the beginning of the Barney fan club that was just started because of people wanting to write to Barney. That today our fan club numbers over 700,000 members, and we receive something like 17,000 letters a week. But in the very beginning days, it was tough going. It was an uphill battle. We had a lot of people who helped us along the way and who cheered Barney on, and we're very, very grateful to all of those people who helped. So we slowly built Barney into a nationwide success. Many people ask me whether or not I'm surprised by Barney's success, and I always say the same thing: no. Because the team behind Barney believed that Barney would be successful from the first moment we started. So just as the introduction said, we were up for numerous awards. Even before the PBS Barney and Friends series, we were in the Neiman Marcus stores. Barney himself was in the Neiman Marcus Christmas catalog, and we had boutiques in the Neiman Marcus stores. Then we premiered with Barney and Friends on PBS in 1992, and the rest is history. Why is Barney such a success? I think the reason that Barney is such a success, and one of the important things that I'm here really to talk about today, is the fact that kids love Barney, and Barney loves kids. Barney is very simple and nurturing and kind and loving, and so is the programming. And this is what we built from the very beginning, something that parents would approve of, but kids would love. I'd like to introduce today Dr. Jerome Singer from Yale University Family Television Research and Consultation Center. Dr. Singer and his wife Dorothy Singer have just introduced a new study on Barney and Friends for the first 30 episodes. And part of their study is in your press packet that you'll receive when you leave. But one of the things I overheard Dr. Singer say the other night was that kids are crying out across America to be loved and nurtured. And this is so important in those very early years. And I think that that is one of the reasons that Barney is so successful. Also in the Singer report, they mentioned that the Barney bashing reflects a cynical lack of awareness by adults that infants and preschoolers need consistent exposure to love, comfort, and security. This is something that we feel strongly about as well. Barney says to all kids that they're special. He encourages children to enjoy themselves, to enjoy life, and to enjoy each other. I was just in Orlando with my family 2 weekends ago, and I saved an article from the Orlando Sentinel, and it says, "Okay for Kids, Parents' Views on New TV Shows." And one of the moms quoted here says, "We're getting back to the good old days." And I thought that was such a good quote because I grew up loving Romper Room, Our Gang, Penny and Sky King, The Mouseketeers. And there's one thing that all of these shows had in common. They were very simple and child-centered, and so is Barney. Also, there was a recent article in the New York Times Magazine called Little Big People by Lucinda Franks. And she speaks about how in our society today, it seems that we're pushing kids to grow up too fast. A lot of the programming that's out today has that feel of being very trendy and now. And something that I think is wonderful about Barney is that Barney has traditional values and that old-fashioned feel to it that we grew up with. Now to the part where we talk about how successful is Barney today. We're often asked that. By any standards, Barney is a mega success today. And I think that that's something good for our society because things that are successful are repeated. If something is violent and if violence sells, it will be repeated over and over in our programming. If something is successful, that is kind and loving and nurturing, and it's a mega success, if something could come along, as Barney has, and do something so wonderful for kids, but yet be a commercial success as well, that is something that is going to be a catalyst for change in our society. For PBS, Barney has been very successful. First of all, in our ratings. Since Barney's premiere in 1992, Barney has boosted the overall ratings of PBS by 33%. Barney has been very successful in pledge drives as well. Just this past March, in total revenue dollars from the children's programming block, Barney was responsible for 2/3 of the revenue coming into PBS. The total revenue was $6.2 million, and Barney was responsible for 4.2. Barney is also very successful in bringing in new audiences to PBS. Barney delivers the target audience to other educational programming on public television. Using Barney as a lead-in, other children's programs experienced an increase in rating from 10 to 147%. So when Barney precedes a program such as Shining Time Station or Sesame Street, the ratings rise. Barney promotes family viewing. 1 out of every 3 people watching a Barney episode is 18 to 49 years old. This results in more people per household watching Barney than all other public television programs. Barney is the highest rated public television program for Hispanic children and the #2 rated program for African American children. And Barney has been also a mega success in home video. This year, by the Video Scan report, in the top 15 home videos, not just children's home videos, but all home videos, Barney is 7 home videos, Barney videos, out of the 15. And to give you a comparison, Disney is only 5 home videos out of the 15. In education, Barney is doing very, very good things for children. In the Singer report, the singers say that Barney and Friends is almost a model of what children's programming should be. Each episode of Barney and Friends provides up to, on average, 98 teaching elements. And in goodwill, too, Barney has reached out and touched the community and given back. Just recently in Minneapolis, Barney did a series of concerts where he sold out to an audience of 12,500 each performance and raised over $150,000 for the hospital. Just this past weekend in Scottish Rite, Barney was able to help raise over $50,000. Also, coming up this March, we'll be doing a benefit concert in Radio City Music Hall. It's just been announced. And the money from the proceeds of this concert series will go toward 3 New York charities. Also, for PBS, the Lions Group has put together a series of Watch, Learn, and Play worksheets. And these are available free if viewers call their PBS stations locally. They will be sent to the viewers. Barney is a commercial success as well. Commercially, Barney has broken all of the records. We've broken records in video, we've broken records in audio product, and we've broken records in book. Just recently, Barney's first record shipped double platinum, which is 2 million units. In the books, Barney books are just now on the market after 6 months, and on the Publishers Weekly best-selling list from 1992, there was only one book on the list that passed 1 million units. All 5 of Barney's first books have each passed 1 million units. In licensing, Barney too has broken all records. Many of our licensees say that Barney as a property has sold more product than any other property that has preceded it. Coming up in the spring, we have some exciting things. We have a brand new radio show called Bedtime with Barney. And for you mom and dads out there, can you imagine tuning in to your local radio show or local radio network at night and hearing a show that's 10 minutes long called Bedtime with Barney? And Barney, first there's a lullaby, and then Barney comes on and he says, "Did you brush your teeth? Are you in your jammies? Are you snuggled up?" Well, now it's time for me to tell you a story. And the first story that he tells is the 3 bears. And toward the end of the story, after the end, Barney relates the story to the child and says things like, "I bet your bed is just like Baby Bear's bed. It's not too hard, it's not too soft," and so on. So it's something exciting. Radio is an old-fashioned thing that we have now brought back, and I think it's exciting for kids to be able to have something new in radio. We're also working on a network special for this April, and we're working on a Barney movie, theatrical release for 1995. So what does this success of Barney do for the future of children's programming? It is our goal that with Barney we set a new standard in children's programming. Many of us ask ourselves, why is there so much violence on television? Why are we surprised when we pick up the paper and read some of the things that have hit lately? And I think that what I said earlier is that if something is so successful, and a commercial success, a rating success, a goodwill success, an education success, this will be a catalyst for change. And something that is so successful is the only thing that can stem the tide of true programming changes for anti-violence. I admire the stand that Attorney General Janet Reno is taking on programming, on the stand on violence against programming, or the stand on violence in programming. And I wanted to also point out kind of a touching story that I think brings this point home. Just recently, many of you read the story about a little girl who woke up in the middle of the night and went in and told her parents that she smelled smoke. And she said, "When you smell smoke, Barney says that you've got to go get your mommy." What a contrast this story is, that lives were saved because of something positive on a Barney episode. What a contrast to another story that was just recently in the press about a program that makes starting fires seem like fun. This is what we're talking about. This is what we're wanting to do. We're wanting to establish a standard that loving, kind, nurturing programming can be very successful, and that success can lead to change. Barney programming is making a difference too, and the television industry has taken notice. Just this spring, there was an article in Cable World where Bob Sieber of Turner Entertainment Group noted that PBS has had such a rise in ratings while the networks have experienced a modest drop. And the reason that Bob Sieber of Turner Entertainment Group gave for this sudden rise in PBS programming, he calls it the Barney factor. And we're proud of that. We're proud of what we're doing for PBS. We're proud of what we're doing for children. And we want to use that Barney factor over and over again to really create change for the television industry. I would like to read a letter that was sent in to us. It's from a family who just had twins, and their twins underwent a really tough time. It says, "We are so grateful to you for making such wonderful shows. They have helped and entertained our family in ways you could never imagine. The twins were born through early months. They were very sick for a long time. Eric came home on oxygen and a heart monitor, but is completely well now. Rachel, our miracle baby and fighter, is doing great." So she goes on to tell about how Rachel thrived in those many months in the hospital because she looked forward to watching Barney episodes on television, and the wholesomeness and the kindness and nurturing was what helped her family get through that. Also, we received letters from moms about learning disabled children. One recently was from a mom of an autistic son who began to speak after watching some Barney tapes. We've heard that UCLA is using Barney tapes in their pediatric therapy department. Also, we heard from a mom and dad in Bridgeport, Connecticut, about their daughter had refused a ride from a stranger because of our stranger song in Barney and Friends. And she felt that it was a near abduction and that had been averted because of something in our shows. We've also heard someone on our crew told us that he has a friend, and his friend's daughter was in the back seat in a car seat. And she began to sing the Buckle Up song, which comes from Barney and Friends. And the mom turned around and saw that her seatbelt had come unbuckled. So she got out of the car, went around, buckled her daughter up. 2 blocks later, she was in a major collision, and she was in critical condition for 4 months, but the child escaped unharmed. And she called to say what a difference that song alone made in her child's life. So I could go on and on with the letters and calls we have received. The profound love and affection that children and their parents have expressed for this big, sweet purple dinosaur have deeply touched all of us in the Barney family. We are humbled by the extraordinary impact of this imaginary character. Barney is a role model, and we feel the weight of that responsibility. We are committed to building on and maintaining the faith children and parents place in him. All of us as adults and parents are the guardians of a public trust, our children's well-being. We need to teach our children to be discriminating television viewers. We need to teach our children how to handle conflict. We need to give our children good role models. We need to prepare them to enter the world with sound emotional and intellectual skills. And our goal is for Barney to help parents with that task. We want Barney's phenomenal success to set a new standard in quality children's programming, creating a brighter tomorrow for children everywhere. Thank you all very much. You've been a stupendous audience, as Barney would say.
We have a regular question and answer period, which we will cut short by 10 minutes so that Barney can come in and entertain everybody. But all the kids here, if you want to know something about Barney, please have your parents write something on a card and pass it up to me. I'm going to space them out with adult questions and children's questions. Hope I can keep everybody's attention or somebody's attention. The first question is, where does Barney live and how did Barney get here to Washington today?
Well, no one really knows where Barney lives because Barney always comes to the children instead of the children going to Barney. But he got here today through the children's imagination, so they've done a great job.
What is your position on proposals in Congress adopting guidelines on TV violence?
Well, I spend most of my time thinking about Barney. In fact, for the last 6 years, I think that I have read very little and watched very little television and have spent most of my time doing programming with Barney. But I think that violence is a very serious matter in the United States today, and that it's my hope that what we've started with Barney and other programmers who follow suit and do programming that is nonviolent is the way that we're going to stem the tide.
What is Barney's favorite song?
Let's see. I think Barney's favorite song is Everyone is Special, because everyone really is.
How did you develop the physical Barney? Who created his look, and is the Barney today the way the initial Barney looked? I seem to remember from the early videotapes that he was pink.
Barney has changed through time just as we all do. I wish that I looked the same today as I did 6 years ago. But no, Barney has changed somewhat in his appearance. He's gotten a little bit more purple, and we actually came up with Barney's look at the company and hired some local people to help us fabricate him. But he was very excited about his growing and changing and new looks along the way.
Senator Dole has criticized public broadcasting for funding a financial success like Barney. Could you comment on that?
Yes, I think that Barney has done good things for PBS, and I think that PBS has done good things for Barney. Just to give you a for instance, PBS and CPB made an initial investment in Series 100 and 200 of Barney of $4 million. Our company has put back into that same matching the funding of $4.5 million. And just this year, we brought $4.2 million into the system through Pledge. We also brought in $1 million through Kimberly-Clark underwriting. And two, from the very first day, we have been sharing 30% of our net licensing revenue as it relates to the programs themselves with public broadcasting. And just now, to show you what's going to happen, with our current record release with EMI that went platinum, PBS will be receiving 30% of that revenue. With the foreign licensing that I've done, PBS will be receiving 30% of that revenue as well. And with the Time Life television continuity series, PBS will be receiving 30%. So I think for an investment of $4 million, which was well spent, I think that what Barney has done in the ratings of increasing the ratings by 33%, by bringing in almost over $10 million this year in Barney's first year alone, and by the fact that when we signed the PBS-CPB contract, for that day and time, it was unprecedented, and PBS is receiving unlimited air plays for Barney until 1998. So that would make, if you could extend out the numbers, that by 1998, for the original investment of $4 million, PBS could realistically see a return of anywhere from 50 to 60 million. So I think that we're giving back very much to PBS and CPB, and we're very pleased with what they are doing for Barney, and I think that it's a match that works for both sides.
Is Baby Bop Barney's sister or Barney's friend?
Baby Bop is Barney's friend. Baby Bop is BJ's sister.
I think I have that straight. How do you feel about the use of computer games for education, and does Barney have a computer game?
We do not have a computer game, but I think that anything, programming or computer games, if it's interactive and if it expands children to use their imaginations, can be good. So books, television, software, anything that is interactive where children can participate, I think is good.
What is Barney's favorite activity?
I think Barney's favorite activity is being with children, because Barney lives for children. So that's his favorite thing.
How has your music developed, and do you have any misgivings about teaching kids the, quote, wrong lyrics to classic American tunes like Yankee Doodle, which is your theme song?
I think that music is at the heart of who Barney is and our programming. We're very proud of our music. I think that kids love to hear songs repeated over and over, and they love very simple songs. So the more traditional songs seem to work best with children. So we wanted to put songs into our programming that were the same songs that we grew up with. And I think by adding new lyrics, have only made the songs more fun and have enhanced the songs.
Does Barney take an afternoon nap?
When he's sleepy, he certainly does.
Could you say a little bit about you and Kathy Parker conceiving the educational aspects of Barney?
Yes. I have a master's degree in bilingual education, and Kathy has a master's degree in special ed and early childhood. So the educational infrastructure of the Barney programming is very important to us. So each Barney episode is built on a theme. It's theme-based, and each one has aspects of multicultural, affective, cognitive, motor development. When we start to brainstorm a new Barney episode, we come up with the things educationally that we want to accomplish first. And then along the way, we build in the entertainment. I think if anyone has time to talk to Dr. Singer after the program, that you'll find out some very interesting things about how strongly the singers feel about our educational merit to the shows. In fact, he feels so strongly about it that he came in on a plane that arrived at 11:30. He rearranged 2 appointments, and he's got to fly out immediately after this, after questions, to give a speech tonight. So he felt that being here to support what we're doing educationally with Barney and Friends was that important.
How do you explain the Barney backlash, and how do you explain it to younger children who are Barney fans?
I think in some ways the Barney backlash is easy to explain. In other ways it's difficult. When anything that is as popular as Barney is seen by 14 million viewers a week, there are going to be some varying opinions, and many of the opinions we take with a grain of salt, and we just feel it's the law of averages. But I think there are some times when activity or opinions or things by adults affect children and undermine the role models that we have created for our children. I think that it does do damage. So I would just like to say that, you know, we're adults too. We have a sense of humor, and much of it is we don't think about. But if it's a radio show that is being broadcast during time when children are listening, I think that that's damaging. If it is the costume, the fake Barney costumes, and that kids go to a party and the hands are no longer there, or that it's a different voice, or it's just not Barney, it's a fake Barney, I think these things destroy part of the trust and the bond that we've built so carefully with Barney. Also, there are some products on the market, too, that are unsafe and that are not passing the safety standards for children, the small parts test and the lead test. And I think that these things are damaging as well.
What do you think Sigmund Freud would say in relation to Barney's popularity with children?
I'm not sure. Someday I might have to ask him about that.
Who or what exactly is the Lions Group?
The Lions Group is a family-owned business, my husband's family, and it really and truly is a small company growing bigger each day, but still peopled by a whole team of people who are dedicated to a character who is most loved by children under 6.
This is from Beth. She says, I watch you every day. I like your show. Why doesn't Barney wear any shoes?
You know, I never asked Barney that question, Beth. I think I might have to ask him. Maybe there's some shoes out there for Barney. I know BJ has some, so maybe Barney needs some too.
Personally, how has Barney affected your life?
I think that besides being exhausted all the time, Barney, I'm able to see that what I'm doing truly matters. And I think that that's the most rewarding thing that someone can ask for their life. So I feel like I'm probably one of the luckiest people in the world because I'm making a difference.
Do you really think that Barney can impact children's thinking later in life about violence? This questioner says it doesn't appear to have worked with Romper Room or Sesame Street.
Yes, I think that Barney can affect children because Barney is so loved by children at such a very early age, really starting about 6 months. And children love Barney to the point that they want to see the shows over and over and over again. And I think that that repetition forms a foundation in their minds of being kind to other people, of respecting other people, of working problems out, of communicating emotions and sharing feelings. And I think that we will see a difference in the future, but I think Barney alone can't do it. I think that Barney, along with Sesame Street, along with Shining Time Station and the other programs on PBS and other programs that producers are working on now, it'll take all of us working together, along with the television industry and the network giants, to be able to really change this tide of violence that's happening.
Does Barney appear in foreign countries?
Yes, just this April coming up, we have licensed Barney and Friends episodes in Australia, New Zealand, Hong Kong, and Singapore, and it will be a daily show Monday through Friday.
Sorry. How would you respond to allegations that Barney is involved in too much marketing and too much PR?
Okay. I would say that if you look at our actions, that our actions speak for themselves. As far as properties go, in licensing, take for instance, with Garfield there are over 500 licensees. With Sesame Street there are hundreds. With Disney there are hundreds. With Snoopy there are hundreds. With Barney, we have kept our licensee list to only 40. And for over a year now, we have had a moratorium on our licensing so that no new licensing can happen and we can spend time with our licensees. Another thing that we've done is that for just in only rare instances have we allowed television advertising of Barney products because we feel that we don't want Barney to become overexposed. We care much more about creating fine programming, doing the network special, doing the movie, doing the radio show, than we do about increasing our licensing and merchandising business. So that is the reason that we put a moratorium for over a year now.
How does Barney keep clean?
How does Barney keep clean? I think that Barney just comes that way. I think he's just a clean guy. It's not a struggle.
How much does Barney net for its creators?
That would be a very difficult question to ask. And we're a privately held company, and that information we keep close. However, I think that I have kind of given some information today on publishing, on video, on ratings, and various things that would give indicators as to Barney's success.
There have been problems with counterfeit Barneys. How do we know when we're looking at the real Barney?
Okay, the real Barney for now just does goodwill appearances. If you go to a retail store and see a Barney, it's not ours. We do no Barney birthday at all. If you go to a birthday party, it is not one of our costumes. So really, Barney exists for kids and goodwill and not for commercial things, with the exception that Barney was just in, or Barney video actually, in conjunction with the American Library Association, was just aired a few weeks ago in the JCPenney stores, but Barney himself was not there. So really and truly, we reserve Barney for goodwill things, and we do not have Barney in birthday parties and those kind of things.
Does Barney ever wear real clothes?
Well, he wears hats and vests and parts of clothes. I don't think I've ever seen Barney fully dressed, but he may surprise us yet. You never know what he's going to do.
Do you have any special plans for Barney that you haven't talked about so far?
See, we've talked about the radio show, the network special, the movie. We are hoping to do more episodes with PBS, and we're in negotiations right now. I think that we hope to do electronic publishing in the future, and that we hope that there are some very interactive types of software, CD-ROM, CDI, those kinds of things in the future as well.
Okay, and if everybody can stay patient for just 5 more minutes, we'll have a big surprise for you, okay?
It's a tough deal.
This question is, how did Baby Bop get smaller? And I'm not sure what that question means.
Well, I think that Baby Bop, through children's imaginations, became smaller and smaller over time. So evidently they must have imagined her very well, because this series, in almost every show, she is smaller. So we thank children for helping us with that.
What is Barney's advice on germs and colds at this time of the year?
Well, Barney always talks about health issues, and I think his advice would be listen to your mom, listen to your dad, listen to your grandmom and granddad and your aunts and uncles, and do what they say, because they really know how to keep you safe, warm, and healthy.
Before asking the final question, I'd like to present you with a certificate. I think all you parents should watch Barney more. You need a lesson in manners, I think. A certificate for you and Barney, in appreciation for appearing here today, and a National Press Club mug.
Thank you. Such an honor. This will be foremost in my office back in Texas.
Okay. The final question is, how would Barney vote on NAFTA? Is Barney afraid of international competition?
Well, I think that Barney would just simply say that he loves people from all over the world, and he wants the world to be a better place, and that he would really beg off and not give an opinion on NAFTA whatsoever.
Okay. I'm going to announce Barney. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, for all the kids out there, who are you waiting for? Who is purple and green with big spots? Can I hear his name a little bit louder? Barney. So Barney's here today. Maybe if we say his name over and over, he'll come out and play with us. Would you like it? Okay, let's go. Barney, 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 Barney. Here he comes.
Because we're going to sing some of our favorite songs. Now, is everybody ready to sing? Yes! Okay. Let's start with Mr. Knickerbocker. Just watch me and do what I do, okay?
Sheryl Leach is the creator of Barney the Dinosaur, which appears on the public television series Barney and Friends. Next on C-SPAN 2, Haley Barbour, chairman of the Republican National Committee, speaks on the future of his party.
Someone help me sing this next song, okay?